Title: The Depths Whisper. In the heart of the forest, shrouded in mist, there nestled a tranquil lake, its surface rippling gently under the moon's glow. It was a place of serenity, where the whispers of the wind danced through the trees, and the only disruptions came from the occasional splash of a fish breaking the surface. But beneath its placid exterior lay a sinister secret, one that would ensnare any who dared to venture too far. Among the mist and the shadows stood a solitary figure, Jack, a weathered fisherman with salt-streaked hair and calloused hands. He knew these waters like the lines on his own weathered face, or so he thought. For years, he had cast his nets and lines into the depths, hauling in bountiful catches to provide for his family. But tonight, the lake seemed different, as if it harbored a darkness that even the moonlight couldn't penetrate. With his boat cutting through the water, Jack ventured deeper into the lake than he had ever gone before. The mist thickened around him, swallowing the distant shoreline and leaving him adrift in a sea of gray. He should have turned back, he knew, but something compelled him forward, a whispering voice that seemed to echo from the depths below. As he dropped his line into the water, the whispers grew louder, twisting and coiling around his mind like tendrils of fog. Jack felt a chill creep up his spine as he realized that the voice was speaking to him, calling his name in a haunting melody that sent shivers down his spine. Desperate to escape the eerie sensation, Jack reeled in his line, but as he did, something caught hold of it with a force that nearly capsized his boat. With a startled cry, he tumbled backward, his heart pounding in his chest as he stared into the murky depths below. And then he saw it, a pair of glowing eyes, cold and unyielding, staring back at him from the darkness. As they drew closer, Jack realized with horror that they belonged to no ordinary creature but to something ancient and malevolent, a being that had slumbered beneath the lake for centuries, waiting for its moment to rise. Paralyzed with fear, Jack could only watch as the creature emerged from the depths, its massive form dwarfing his tiny boat. With a flick of its tail, it sent waves crashing against the sides, threatening to engulf him in its icy embrace. As the creature loomed closer, Jack knew that his fate was sealed. He had ventured too far into the darkness, and now there was no escape. With one final, desperate cry, he plunged into the water, vanishing into the depths alongside the creature that had claimed him as its own. And as the mist swallowed them whole, the whispers faded into silence, leaving nothing behind but the echo of a fisherman's final scream lost in the depths of the lake. The air was thick with an eerie stillness as the moon cast a pale glow over the desolate lake. John, an experienced fisherman, found himself adrift in the inky blackness, surrounded by a thick fog that seemed to swallow every sound. He had ventured out in his small boat on what was supposed to be a routine night of fishing, but something felt off from the moment he cast his first line. As the night progressed, John became disoriented. The usual landmarks that guided him on these waters seemed to vanish into the mist. The lake, once familiar and comforting, now appeared ominous, its waters reflecting only shadows that danced eerily in the moonlight. The only sound that echoed through the dense fog was the gentle lapping of water against the sides of the boat. John strained his eyes, peering into the obscurity, trying to make out any semblance of land. Panic set in as he realized he had no idea which direction led to safety. The fog thickened, making it nearly impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. John's hands trembled as he fumbled for his flashlight. The feeble beam cut through the darkness, revealing nothing but the suffocating fog. A distant moan echoed across the lake, sending shivers down John's spine. He strained his ears, trying to convince himself it was just the wind. But the wind doesn't carry whispers. John. The fisherman's heart skipped a beat as his name echoed hauntingly through the mist. He scanned the surroundings, his flashlight trembling in his grip. The voice was familiar, yet twisted with an otherworldly resonance. Come closer, John. The boat creaked as he shifted nervously. The voice seemed to come from all directions, a siren's call beckoning him into the unknown. Unable to resist, he began to row in the direction of the voice, guided only by the haunting whispers. As the boat glided through the murky waters, the fog began to part, revealing a ghastly scene. Figures, pale and translucent, emerged from the mist, their eyes vacant yet fixated on John. They stood knee-deep in the water, their tattered clothes clinging to emaciated frames. "Join us, John." Their voices merged into a chilling chorus that sent shivers down his spine. The figures extended skeletal hands, beckoning him to join their watery grave. With horror in his eyes, John realized he was surrounded by the lost souls of the lake, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. As their whispers grew louder, he felt an otherworldly force pulling at his very soul. Desperation and fear seized him, and with newfound strength, he rowed frantically in the opposite direction. The fog closed in once more, muffling the haunting voices. The boat rocked violently as the lake seemed to resist his escape. Exhausted and trembling, John finally broke free from the suffocating mist. He found himself back in familiar waters, the fog dissipating behind him. The echoes of the ghostly voices lingered, leaving him haunted by the nightmarish encounter on the lost lake. To this day, John refuses to speak of that fateful night. The lake holds its secrets, and those who venture too far may find themselves lost in the haunting whispers that linger in the depths.